Hi, I just want to make a real quick video explaining the day in the life of a targeted individual. I know a lot of you probably see my posts about targeted individuals on Facebook and wonder what that's about. If you're not a target, you probably don't understand exactly what's going on, or maybe you have some idea, but I just wanted to kind of make a real quick video to explain what it's like so that you understand what the governments are doing. And basically go through just what it's like in an ordinary day for someone who's trying to go live their life in a normal way. You know, they're trying to have a family life and friends and work environment and community and everything, and how all of those things are disrupted by this targeting program. So basically, targeted individuals are not only being harassed by their community and work and family and friends, they also have technologies that are being tested on them and have been deployed onto them. So, for instance, I'll just go from my experience. Some targets are receiving different types of harassment through the use of technology. I haven't experienced all of them, like voice to skull. Like, I don't hear voices or anything like that being projected at me or anything like that, but some people do. Some people are receiving some kind of weapon deployed on them that burns their body, or they feel like they're, something inside of them is being cooked. I mean, just crazy stuff, but it's really happening. There's a lot of people all around the world, and the testimonies are pretty much the same around the world too. I have a lot of targeted friends, so a lot of the information that I have, like in my newsfeed, is information from targets that are all around the world, and what they're experiencing. And a lot of the experiences are identical. So it's a program that is rehearsed. Probably there's a manual on how to do this to people, because when someone in Europe has the same thing happening to them as someone in the United States or in Mexico or in some other country, then you kind of have to put the pieces together and see, like, okay, this is happening, and it's happening pretty much the same around the world. So these perpetrators are connected in some way and following some kind of program. But I'll just speak from my own personal experience. Basically what it's like is one day you have a normal life and you're just going about your normal day and everything and just dealing with regular, everyday problems. And then all of a sudden you realize, like, things are kind of strange around you. Like, it seems like people are trying to communicate messages to you. Like, for instance, you'd be at home and you'd be talking to your friend or your husband or your boyfriend or whatever about the movie you want to see, for instance. Like, oh, I really want to see this movie. It's coming out, blah, blah, blah. Well, you'll go to work the next day, and all of a sudden your coworkers will be having, like, almost the identical conversation that you had by your, in your home, that they could know nothing about. Or you could also be thinking about purple elephants or something like that. And someone that's around you will start talking about purple elephants. So it's not a coincidence. It's way beyond a coincidence, because what they're doing is they have this technology deployed on your head that is pulling your thoughts or your ideas out of your head. They're also putting ideas and thoughts in your head, and I'll go through a little bit of that as well. But it's way beyond being a coincidence. We all have regular coincidences that happen in our lives. It's way beyond that. It's way beyond that. So basically, one day you have a normal life, and the next day you realize you don't. And a lot of people don't know what's happening to them until they research it, because a lot of people have never heard of this. A lot of people have never investigated government programs or heard of any of the experiments that governments have done on their populations. So they would never even suspect that a government would do this to their own citizens. So they don't know until they start researching. And that's what happened with me. I was getting the harassment, and I thought, okay, well, I'm under some kind of investigation or something. I'll just go with it. I'm a good person. There's nothing for me to be afraid of. I guess they'll just do their investigation, and then it'll stop. Well, that's not the way it works. These investigations don't stop. I have targeted individual friends who've been targeted for 10, 20, 30 years. So the idea that it's some kind of investigation is false. It's not some kind of investigation. So basically, how I found out what was happening was I, was getting the harassment and everything, and I went on YouTube and I just looked up something like government harassment or torture. I mean, I knew it was a government right away. And so I went and looked that up and then got, a whole bunch of videos and stuff, started watching and learning and discovered, wow, this is exactly what's happening to me. This targeted individual thing. It's exactly what I'm experiencing. So, by researching it, that's how I found out, there's a term for it. I call it government harassment, gang stalking. The term for the people that are experiencing the harassment is targeted individuals. But it's not really like gang stalking. Like, some people don't like to use that term because in some folks' minds it'll seem like it's some kind of gang, like the Crips or the Bloods, or chasing this person around. Oh, how terrible, they're getting attacked by gangs or something. It's not gangs. It's gangs of people, but they're working for the government. So it's not, well, I mean, technically the government is acting like a gang now, but it's not like the Crips or the Bloods or some kind of, what you would think of in the way of being a gang or whatever. But gang stalking is one of the terms they use to describe what's happening, because it's a lot of people. You would not even believe how many people get deployed in this type of harassment. I mean, I worked for years in an office, and the amount of time and the amount of people they use to harass you is just amazing. I mean, it got to the point where I'm the one getting harassed and my life is getting, messed with, but I started feeling bad for the people around me, like, oh my gosh, their whole life is consumed with harassing me. It got to the point where it's like every single day at work, their life consists of how they're going to harass Jennifer, and that's just the way it works, because it seems the program is designed to it's kind of designed basically to make you go crazy, or to make people think you're crazy, to get you a mental health diagnosis, so that the other people in the population won't believe what you're saying. They'll be told like you're schizophrenic or you're crazy or things like that, to allow the harassment to continue. When in fact, it's a lot of times, a lot of the targets that I know, they're whistleblowers, drug whistleblowers, people who tried to do the right thing, or file a lawsuit against somebody, or dated a cop, or dated the wrong person, per se, because it's the wrong person if they're going to throw you in a targeting program if you break up with them. But they've dated somebody who they've broken up with, and that person got upset, and all of a sudden they find themselves being targeted. So it really it spans across all lines. I mean, rich people, poor people, black people, white people, Christians, Muslims. I mean, it's just everybody. Jewish people, everybody. I've seen it all. So it's basically been done to all kinds of different people, and for the most part, none of these people know why they're being targeted. Some people know, like, oh, I whistle blew on a drug dealer in the neighborhood, and now I'm being targeted. So those type of people, they know, they assume that's why, But for the most part, a lot of people have no idea even why they're being targeted, and we're never told. We're never told why we're being targeted. No one comes to your door and says, okay, you're on this list now, we're going to target you. They don't tell you why. I've tried to even, sometimes get an idea why, but the targeting, the people that I call handlers, the ones that are in the government that they're actually handling the targeting of you, they will lie to you. So even if you think you get an answer from them on something, you can't believe them. because they'll lie to you. They'll try to make you think it's for this reason or make you think it's for that reason. And so you never really know. It's been my experience is you never really know why it's happening to you. But it is happening, and it's happening all around the world. I have targeted friends from all different countries, and it's pretty much happening the same around all the countries. So anyway, so basically the day in the life of the target, I'll just explain a little bit, because sometimes people think, okay, so someone's being harassed, oh, just ignore it, or just say something back, or do something to make that person go away. Okay. It's not how it works, because even if you can convince one person to stop harassing you, the government will just get somebody else. So it's not like you can stop these 10 people from harassing you and it'll stop. No. If you stop those 10 people, there's just other 10 people over here that the government will get to harass you. So it's not as easy as that. It's not as easy as just dealing with the people you work with, or dealing with family problems, or dealing, with problems in your community, because you're being harassed by all of these sectors of society. So, and then you have technology also deployed on you. So, one of the technologies that they have used a lot on me is a technology that invades your dream space. So when you're going to sleep, the government is inducing dreams in your mind. So you're not you're harassed all day, and then you're not even free at night to just sleep, to just relax and forget about the day and sleep it off, and start a day new tomorrow, and what's happening with these dreams is they're doing hypnosis on people. So most people have heard of hypnosis. You've seen the shows where there's a panel of people and the hypnotist comes in and hypnotizes them, they all fall asleep. Okay. It's kind of like that. It's a little bit more complicated. It's military or militarized, whatever way you want to say it. So it can be like, let's say, the secret ops division of the government wants to ban guns, or get greater gun control in a society, but they know that they're not going to get these rules through because, like, for instance, in America, there is the right to have and bear arms. So they face a problem. If their agenda is to get stricter gun control for one reason or another, and they know the population's not going to go and do that voluntarily, what they will do is they will create problems. So if there are not enough problems in society already, they will go and create a problem so that they can pretend to then introduce the solution. And that's what we're seeing happening now. In fact, they've done it all around the world, everywhere where they've had, they have these massive shootings and whatever, and then all of a sudden, right after that, they come in with gun legislation, and it's on national news that they want, stricter gun control and things like that. So they have succeeded in a lot of countries. Luckily, they're having some problems in the United States because a lot of Americans like their right to bear arms, and they really should. I mean, this type of government that we're having right now is exactly the reason that you want to keep that right. Even if, you don't think it's that bad now, but who knows? I mean, down the line, we don't know if they're going to go ahead and start rounding up people and putting them in FEMA camps or whatever. We don't know what they're going to do. I mean, the United States has done that in the past with the Japanese. So, and you don't know. I mean, they were pretty decent back then, but depending on what you consider decent, but I mean, not like, taking people and then like just shooting them in a field or something, but that's not to say that couldn't happen. That's the thing. When you look through history, those things do happen. And just because it's the United States does not mean that it's not going to happen again. I mean, the United States is already doing these, crazy things to their population. So what's going to stop them? What's going to stop them from one day just deciding, we're going to round up all the patriots, we're going to round up all the conspiracy theorists, we're going to round up all the targets, and we're just going to put them in a FEMA camp, and no one's ever going to hear from them again. So it's not that it can't happen. I mean, it has happened in the past. So we know that it can happen. Whether it will is questionable, but it's still something that you need to keep in mind. And that is why the right to protect yourself is not a right that a government can just go and give or take from you, because that right is your right. It doesn't belong to a government to give or take it to you. That's your right to defend yourself, and populations really need to keep that right. But so basically, with the mind control and the harassment, what they're doing is they're creating problems. So they're creating criminals that they can get to do the dirty work that will get the population to back these legislations. So, for instance, like the Navy Yard shooter, he is a gentleman who, well, I shouldn't really call him a gentleman, but he is a man who was in contact with a group that helps targeted individuals such as myself and my friends. And he had been in contact with them before that shooting. So he knew he was under harassment. He knew he had technology deployed on him. And that's what they're doing. So, and they're using hypnosis too. So if you're a targeted individual and you go to sleep at night and they induce dreams in your mind and use harassment on you, they can hypnotize you to like guns. They can hypnotize you to want to go shoot up the Navy Yard or go shoot up the neighborhood or whatever. They can do this because one of the things about hypnotism or brainwashing is repetition. So imagine you're sleeping for 8 hours. If the government has access to your brain for 8 hours, imagine what kind of brainwashing they can do on you. I mean, they have 8 hours of your time that you're not doing anything else, and they can just program your brain just like a computer. So basically that's what's happening. So you'll be going to sleep at night, and with the dreams, they're very vivid, so you will know. I mean, some people may not be able to tell that it's a fake dream, but you'll know. I mean, I knew right away when I had one of the first ones. I knew right away. I was like, okay, that's the government, and it kind of scares you a bit, like, oh my God, they have this technology that they can put dreams in your brain. That's crazy, but it's true. So, basically what they do is they go in, they go in and they induce dreams in your mind. When you wake up in the morning, whatever hypnosis has been done to you doesn't go away. It's still there. So when you wake up in the morning, if they're hypnotizing you to be agitated or to be frustrated or to be angry, you're going to wake up in that state. You're going to wake up feeling like, oh, I hate my life, or this is terrible, and, be totally frustrated and maybe have a short fuse and be angry and all these things. So basically, you would need to wake up and unhypnotize yourself. Like for a while, I would have to wake up in the morning and I would be moving like totally fast and just be like, kind of, shaky and kind of like robotic almost. And so I would wake up and I would literally like just slow myself down. I had to learn like how to slow everything down and reteach myself so that I could take away their hypnotism. So I had to teach myself how to be myself again when waking up in the morning, so that I didn't fall for what they were trying to program me to be. That's one of the things. So you would wake up in the morning like that. So you're already off to a bad start because they've already, been messing with your brain all night. And then if you work, okay, so and one of the things about that too, if they want you to lose your job, they can use this technology to get you to oversleep. So, or hit your snooze button on your alarm. So if you're sleeping and your alarm is set for 8 o'clock and they don't want you to wake up till 9, they just use their mind control technology on you. So you wake up at 9 o'clock and you're like, oh my God, you feel so badly. You're going to be late for work and everything. It's not even your fault. It's not even something you did. It's something that someone else did with their technology. So that's a lot. I think a lot of targets probably deal with that as well. But if you get all through that and you actually make it to work, here's what happens. So you go to work and you just be, like, oh gosh, I got all this work to do and everything. You're relaxing, getting to your keyboard or whatever you do for work, and you'll start working. Well, within, just a little bit of time, you'll start noticing, oh, the people talking around me and stuff. And the people will start talking about things that you've been thinking about or you've been talking about recently. So you'll recognize that. You'll be like, oh, they're talking about the same thing I was yesterday. Or in extreme cases, they're talking about what I just thought of 10 minutes ago. And so at first it's like, oh, wow, well, that's kind of interesting, Or they'll talk about your dreams. Here's how you really know that those people are being used for the government, because there's no way your coworkers are going to know what you dreamt about or what kind of dreams you had the night before. So that's a key indicator that that what you're hearing is harassment, because they'll start talking about what you dreamt about or something like that, and not to you. They'll actually talk to one another about what you dreamt about, and so they're kind of conspiring together to harass you. So you feel like, oh wow, my privacy has been violated here. And so that'll be like the first skit or the first thing you hear. And then you'll go back about your work and whatever. And then all of a sudden, a couple more people be doing it again. Or you'll go to get a cup of coffee and someone in there will be talking about something that also has something to do with you. And then you go back to your desk and, try to go back to work again. And this will happen all day long. It's not just one thing here or one thing there. They do it all day long. So you never really get a break. Another thing targets go through too is, like, if you drive, I don't drive a car anymore, but if you drive, they'll also have you harassed on the road. So you'll be driving and people purposely cut you off or try to get in your way and things like that, just to frustrate you. They're just trying to frustrate you. They want to make you so frustrated that you lash out at the world, because that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to create problems. They need problems in society to justify their existence. The government isn't needed unless there's problems, right? So that's basically what they're doing. They're trying to create problems so that they can get more money for their police department, so they can get more money for the FBI, so they can get more money for the CIA or what have you. So anyway, so yeah, they'll do that. And then when you get home, you'll be, after work, you'll go home and you'll be like, oh gosh, okay, now it's time to relax. Well, no, it's not, because they also have the community harass you. So you may have had a really hard day at work and you're just like, oh gosh, I just need to relax. And like with me, I lived in an apartment building on the lower floor. And so they would have people do skits outside of my apartment, and the walls there are really, really thin. So you'd be sitting in your living room, you could hear the people right outside, your door in the walkway, having conversations. And they would do crazy things like have women fighting or something and yelling obscenity, like bitch, like yelling obscenities and stuff like that. Especially like, let's say that day you told somebody about your harassment, like you went, I'm being harassed by the government, and they're mad, and the government's now mad at you because they don't want you talking about it. They'll have someone like screaming that, bitch or whatever outside, because they're trying to call you a bitch is what they're trying to do. They're trying to insult you through the use of other people's language. So they'll do those like little skits outside and stuff like that. And that'll pretty much happen, throughout the evening. If you try to watch television, maybe you want to just watch TV and forget about it. Not going to happen. They have control of the TVs. So if you turn on CNN or whatever, I don't know how exactly they're doing it, but you'll also get that kind of harassment like through mainstream media or the radio. So you'll be watching television, and then they too will start talking about something that you were talking about or thinking about or happened that day. They also like to steal ideas from targets. So if you have some ideas about, this or that, they'll incorporate those into mainstream media, because these people work. I mean, it's all connected. The targeting, the media, the radio. I mean, they're all kind of connected. And I think a lot of it's done through mind control also. So if you turn on a certain radio station, this system is so ubiquitous that they can actually mind control. I know it's crazy, but it's live. If it's a live show, they can actually mind control those people that are delivering the radio show into talking about things that will harass you. So it happens all the time. It's not a coincidence. You're not paranoid. It's really happening. So you'll learn after a while as a target, don't watch live television. Don't listen to live radio. One year I was watching the live New Year's Eve celebration. I think it's in New York or something like that, with Kathy, I want to say Kathy Giffords and Anderson Cooper. I'm not sure on her name, but I actually got harassed through them all night long. I mean, the whole program, I was getting harassed through them. So, yeah, so they basically do that, I think, to make you, like, they want to make you look crazy. They want to make you think you're crazy. In cases where targets know what's happening, they actually want to push you to be crazy. I mean, imagine everywhere you go, someone's talking about something that you're thinking or you thought or you did. It's going to drive you nuts. I mean, it's annoying. That's one of the worst things. It's so annoying. So when you get home, you're at home, you want to watch TV, you can't watch live television. Once you learn a lot more about what's happening in the world, it doesn't even take targeting, because the television, movies, shows, news, all of it is infiltrated by these people. So it gets really hard to enjoy those kinds of things, because you start seeing their symbology, their symbols. You start seeing their little footprints all over everything. So you get to the point where you're just like, I just want to turn it off. I just don't want anything to do with these people that are so tyrannical running these countries. And basically where I'm at right now, I still enjoy some movies, and I'll look for the clues. In movies, they put clues to their technology. Of course, it's like, in the movie, it's considered science fiction, but it's really not science fiction. A lot of these things really exist, and they put it in the movies a lot. So you can find out a lot about what they have by just watching their movies. But you have to watch out for disinformation and misinformation too, because they will put that in there as well. So, like, if they have a movie that's about synthetic telepathy, like being able to read someone's mind, in the movie they'll make it sound like it's a potion, like someone has to drink something, and if they drink that, they can read people's minds. They'll make it sound like that's what it is, but it's really not that. It's like some kind of satellite-driven or cell phone. It's some kind of wave, like radio wave, whatever. I'm not really technology savvy, so it's some kind of wave that's going through the air that's actually doing all these things. But in the movie, they'll make it sound like it's a magic potion that you have to take. So you have to watch out for that information. So you need to be able to know how to pick and choose between the information to see where the truth really lies. So yeah, basically that's it. I mean, you go through from the time you wake up in the morning to the time you go to bed at night, you're harassed, and all throughout the night too, because they have access to your mind through the induced dreams. And then, of course, during the day, they have access to your mind through the synthetic telepathy. Another thing they're doing too, it's not just about mind reading, it's about mind writing as well. They will put things into your mind that you normally wouldn't think of. Like, if they want you to start thinking crazy, they'll start putting those thoughts in your mind, so that you seem crazy, or you really are thinking crazy, but they're not your thoughts. And so you have to learn how to differentiate between that. You need to be able to learn, like, okay, why would I think, like, for instance, why would I think that I might accidentally stick my hand in the sink in the garbage disposal and get cut? Why would I think something so gruesome, and like really, really think about it and like get scared of it, things like that. They'll kind of try to give you a criminal mind too. It's another part of creating problems that they like to do. They will have you be in a position where you normally things that you wouldn't think about, all of a sudden those things become thoughts that come to you, even though it's completely against your character, it's completely against anything that you want to do or anything that you believe in. You will have those thoughts, and you will have to discredit those own thoughts in your mind. You'll have to sit there and go, why would I do that? That's so stupid. That's not me. I wouldn't do that or anything. So it's not really you anyways, per se, because what they're doing is they're programming your mind in that way. It's like they're programming you to think bad things or think about doing bad things or things like that. So that's another thing they do. So you really lose your life to this targeting. I mean, it's nonstop. It's from morning to night, and it's when you sleep. So it's all day long and when you're sleeping. So that's if any of you have targeted individual friends out there as well, besides me, you probably see posts about these kind of things and everything. Yeah, they're really going through hell. I mean, there is nothing worse than this targeting program. I mean, it is the most brutal, disgusting, vile, just horrendous thing that I have ever encountered in my whole entire life. I've never seen anything like this before. I mean, some targeted individuals have already committed suicide. One lady who was in the targeted community, she was targeted, God, I don't know how long it was, but it was over 10 years, I think, maybe even over 20. She eventually, she went to a shooting range and she shot herself. So this is not like a benign program. This isn't like, oh, we're just trying to quiet these activists down or quiet this whistleblower down. It's not like that. It's not just them trying to get you to shut up or trying to get you to change your mind about something that you want to protest about or things like that. Because even if you stop being an activist or you stop doing what you think they might want you to stop doing, the targeting won't stop. They will keep going. As far as I am aware, this targeting goes until you die. So it's kind of a grim situation. That's why targeted individuals, they really do need to focus on trying to keep at least some positive things in their lives and keep themselves busy with things that don't have to do with the targeting itself, because you don't want to inundate your brain so much that that's all you're thinking about. In the beginning, they do. I mean, in the beginning, I think most targets, that's really what they do, is research until they understand a lot of what's going on. But over time, you learn that you really need to take a break. You need to enjoy nature. You still need to do certain things to try to have a somewhat normal life, that the government's trying to prevent you from having. But yeah, so it's basically hell on earth. It's terrible. It's terrible. So if you do have targeted individual friends on your Facebook list or in your own life, please, I can't stress this enough, be their friend. Reach out to them if they need to talk about what's going on. Just someone to listen to you is so important, especially for someone who's isolated, because this program really is about isolating these people from everybody that they know and love. So I can't stress enough how valuable it is to have a real friend in your life that you can trust, that's not going to target you. It's so important to be able to have that connection with another human being that you can trust. It may not mean that you can help them anyway. It may not mean you can help them financially. It may not mean that you can help them get out of the targeting, but you can help them deal with it. You can really help people with dealing with what they have to deal with, and I mean, we're all in this world together. We kind of all have to stick together too, because even if you're not targeted now, there's nothing to say that you're not going to be targeted in the future. One of the problems that targets have too is if they get involved with someone, like they're dating, a lot of times the person that they end up dating will end up being targeted too. So it's like they latch on to your boyfriend or your girlfriend or your husband or your wife, and start targeting them as well. So that's how I know the government is totally criminal too, because there's no, if this program was being done for a reason, like the targets had done something wrong, or there was something wrong with them, or there was a reason behind this, then they wouldn't just start nonchalantly targeting all the people that end up around them. They wouldn't, it wouldn't be acceptable for them to just start targeting this innocent person over here, this person over there. You would think there'd be some kind of protocol, like, if someone's being targeted for this reason, then you don't target who they're around. But that's not how it works. They target everybody that they want to. To me, it doesn't seem like there's anything stopping them, like there are no rules. It doesn't seem like there's a rule stopping them from targeting anybody that they want to. I saw this personally myself when I was in a homeless shelter. I witnessed some of the ladies that were in the shelter with me being targeted, and one of the ladies even wanted to ask. She asked me and wanted to know, why this could be happening to her. Like, could they be doing this to her, and why? And I didn't want to scare her too much because she didn't know too much about what's going on. So I kind of just handled it that way. But another woman who, she's a 24-year-old girl, was there. She was being targeted, and I think she had the voice to skull, or the one where they're putting the voices in your head, because she had like an imaginary friend. And she was a pretty normal woman. I mean, she wasn't crazy or anything like that, put you that way. And so she had this voice, this person. I think he even had a name. I don't remember what the name was, but she had this person that would talk to her in her head. And one day when we were at the library, she had a breakdown in the library, and paramedics had to show up because she had a breakdown, and she was in the bathroom just on the ground crying and just holding her head, going, my head. And she was just having a total breakdown. And so the paramedics showed up, and then one of the gentlemen that was there, I think he might have just, I don't know if he was a paramedic or he was just someone who worked at the library, but I started talking to him, and I explained to him, the government is targeting people with this technology. And I think that's what the problem is here. I think she's getting attacked with technology. And I gave him a little bit what information that I could, but then I finally told him, that's all I can do. All I can do is tell you, I even have to not talk about this too much because I'm getting targeted with it also. So it's kind of a fine line that you walk, because you have to tell people what's happening, but then you also don't want to cause, a total revolution right there on the spot, because you don't know what kind of targeting you're going to get after that. So I did tell him a lot about this technology that's being used and everything. And even another lady there was like, your friend, I think I know what's happening to her. My friend or my sister has that happening too. And I explained to her, well, we can't really stop it because it's not really a mental illness. These people are being attached, they're being attacked by the government. The government is causing this. And this lady, she's this woman, she was like totally like looked at me like it's the first time she ever heard of this or something. She kind of looked at me like maybe I was crazy. But yeah, so there's a lot of things out there like the schizophrenia and stuff like that. I'm real suspicious is mostly this technology. I mean, they can create a whole business out of it. I mean, if they want to, create jobs, all they have to do is go target, 100,000 people with voice to skull technology, and there you go. Psychiatrists are busy, the pharmaceutical companies are busy, the doctors are busy, So anyway, that's why this type of technology really needs to be found. It needs to be exposed. It needs to be found, and the people using it need to be stopped. It's just incredible what they're doing with this stuff. It's just total abuse of power. So anyway, I hope that I kind of helped you understand what it's like. And I hope you have courage, if you're not a targeted individual, to reach out to targeted individuals and talk to them. And a lot of them will be willing to talk to you about what they're experiencing. You just have to be really cautious because of the way this technology works. They can also use you to target those people without you knowing it, because they can project thoughts into your mind. They can project things for you to say into your mind. So it's real important, to build that trust. So if you're going to be talking to someone and discussing what's going on and everything, just avoid, one of the things that I talked to my boyfriend about is just avoid like certain words, and not inflammatory is not really the right word for that, but extreme words, how a lot of people nowadays are saying, oh, well, that really blew up this, or that really exploded that. I mean, they're using these really harsh words for normal everyday conversation. That was part of my targeting in the beginning, was these things where they were trying to, I don't know, program my mind or program a response in my mind. I'm not sure exactly what they were trying to do, but so, or oh wow, this lip gloss is the bomb, stuff like that. The normal everyday conversations that you have can be triggers to targets, so they may be sensitive to certain words, and so it's basically, if you stay pretty mellow in conversation in the words you use, just mellow type of conversation, then you should be able to avoid most of that. By just avoiding those extreme words and stuff like that. So anyways, I hope that this helped to explain a little bit about what these people are going through. And it's hard because a lot of them are homeless, and like I said, some have already committed suicide. So we really need the public to wake up to what's happening, and don't be afraid of targets. Talk to targets, try to, if you're interested in what's happening, you can ask them questions. There's a lot of targets that will be willing to talk to you about what's happening. They may be really upset. You may find that they're really hyper and really frustrated, but that's normal because this program is making them that way. So don't be afraid, like, oh, they're really angry, and because honestly, they should be angry. This is a terrible, terrible program. So maybe having a friend that they can trust will kind of help mitigate that, because it is really stressful. Well, I hope that I did help, and I may do a little bit more informational videos on this as I think of things, as things come up again. In certain aspects to explain and stuff like that, so people can understand a little bit more about what we're going through and everything. So go ahead and look for those videos in case I think of anything else that I think that everyone needs to know. I'll go ahead and make those as well. All right, so thank you for listening, and thank you for being my Facebook friend. I really love all you guys and having all you guys as friends. My news feed is so full, it's so hard to be able to see every single person's posts, but I really do love everyone's posts and information and just the friendships that we all form on there. So anyway, so I will see you back on Facebook. Bye.